It's going down like this, motherfucker.
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and
off my dome. This is actually taught by the people who are ancestors of the Mayans.
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. It's cool enough just being cool, like I am, chilling.
To the east, to the north, to the west, to the south, above, below, and the middle. To the east, to the north, to the west, to the south, above, below, and the center. Greetings. This is Big Pontiac, and welcome to the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins, and I am that one and only Galactic Daddy-O, welcoming each and every one of you to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. I guess it was time for me to come on in. Well, here we are again. And guess what we're featuring? Spitting and shit. We're still sticking with Great Lakes. I like Great Lakes beer. This is one of the 3 beers that I like. As you know, I usually get the Elliot Ness, but don't mind the porter. Great Lakes. It's the Edmund Fitzgerald. If you don't know, I think this was a barge, ship taking shit somewhere. So, pop them if you got them. And Goose Island out of Chicago. I see that dark goodness, that dark ambrosia. And what it is this has a more smoked kind of, it's like the malts are slightly roasted, and that's what gives you the porter. That's what brings out the flavors a little more. But it's funny, the strongest one of these is the one that is actually more of like a red ale in the I forget the other one, but so dig it. And tonight, I'm getting some fire tomorrow. This shit's legal here, so they mail it to you and shit now. But I'm on these. I'm always on these, cause I'm on the herbal gummies. And hell, I still been smoking on this joint forever. So why not? What they used to say, take it to the head. So smoke them if you want them. Yeah. There we go. Clean little atmosphere up here. Oh, yeah. Keep the positive vibes for all my muses in here. All this stuff is, it's muses. All this stuff works for me, baby. The stuff in your house ain't working for you, then you in the wrong place, baby. Everything in here, it's like, hey, Tobe, you brought me in here, turn this on. And that's what all this is for, to turn everything on. All right, let's get to it. So one tell, and I said this before, when I saw the Lakers and they let the Lakers play, what was his name? Thompson. And I've noticed this in years in big games. It was like when LeBron and them was finally going to get over the hump, they let Mike Miller get off. Do y'all remember that? All of a sudden, Mike Miller, they got basket manipulation for Mike Miller when LeBron, I think, got the first one for the Heat. And so, as I mentioned, Thompson was in the game. So you kind of saw that right there, that there was something unnatural about Thompson being in the game. So when I saw Reggie Jackson playing early, I was like, whoa. Like, it's something up. Now, the first half, one thing no one can deny, and I had to make a note of this stuff. Eric Gordon, no, not Eric Gordon. Yeah, Gordon. Gordon and the Joker. I mean, what is it, the Joker? Remember, the Joker went in the lane in the first half. He kind of lost control. Now, do y'all remember this? Like, they end up stealing the ball, but it was like no 3 seconds. Because if you lose the ball or not, you're still not supposed to be in the lane offensively more than 3 seconds. Because then it's an advantage. And how many times did we see Joker flubbing the ball? They knock the ball out. He gets the ball back. He knocks the ball out. one time Gordon posted up and never got out the lane. Did y'all notice that? Gordon posted up, and it's like, even though he didn't get the shot or nothing, there was nothing called. Like, he posted up in the lane like this. He didn't get the ball, but there was nothing called from the play. Nothing called. And I'm like, this, like, how is that not called? So that, it's interesting, though, they haven't turned on really the basket for Michael Porter Jr. because they kicked one of his out. He had made a three, and they kicked it out. I think it was the beginning of the second half. Michael Porter, that three looked like it was about to go in, and they kicked that three out. So who's with the party people? El Dragon, what's happening? And for you being here, I know you got to have
vision.
And Jamar, 3224, what's happening? And I know you got to have
vision.
Siova, what's happening? And Siova, I know you got to be in control of your...
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
And I know you got
to have vision.
Oh, PJ Allen. And I know you can control your...
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
Oh, and I know you got
to have vision.
It may go the distance. Well, I would say this. They kind of hinted. They hinted that... What did they say at the end of the game? What did they say? They said when they play the next game, they play the next game like it's game 7. That's what they said for the Heat. That's what they said for the Heat. They said the Heat better play. So I thought that was a kind of a tell that the Heat will probably win the next game Friday. Because it was interesting, the adjustments and everything in the first half seemed to be fine for Miami. But Miami could never hold any kind of lead. It was always catch up, tie, a little lead. And so, I don't know. Like on both sides. Okay, here's do you guys remember this play in the first half? In the first quarter, Murray goes down the lane and he literally shoots it into the defender. Who was defending him that blocked his shot early? Might have been Jimmy Butler. But it's like he didn't even try to make it. It's like he just went into him. Oops. And I've said, I've showed this before. This is sometimes they do this too. It's like little girls. If you've ever watched little girl basketball, they'll shoot it right into somebody's hand. They don't really put any arch. Like the ones that catch on, it's like, oh, if I just shoot it over everybody. But some little girls just, at first they launch it. And if you just put your hand up, you can block it because they launching it. So that can be done by players too. We saw that. But Djokovic just Kevin Garnett got him the best. I gotta find that clip again. And they showed where he dribbles 1,000 times and there's no 3 seconds, no nothing. It was interesting earlier when Bam knocked him down that they didn't call a foul on Bam. Yeah, because Bam kind of beat, gave him the shoulder, but it's and I think, was it Siova? Was it you that said he's not marketable, the Joker? Or maybe it was Lobo that said that the Joker's not even, it's like America doesn't love these guys. American businesses definitely don't love that dude. This dude is in the finals. Does he have any commercials? Other than local Denver commercials. Does he have a national commercial right now? Other than when they interview him after the games. Now, what was it? He had on the NBA channel, It ain't an endorsement of him. He's in the commercial. He's riding a lawnmower or something. The NBA channel has something like this comment or something, and he's in that. But that's it. No national commercials. And something I put here, check this stuff out. It's like these people was once, the Cold War enemies. They once was the Cold War enemies. And my generation and my parents' generation, we was taught to hate some of these people from these countries. And now the turnaround is this is the only way they can show European-looking Europeans being competitive. And we know, again, it's stacking the deck. Like we see in the Sweetwater movie. Silverstein never took a chance. He's like, hey, just let him play. You just part. But it was, again, the script. So, I don't know. No finesse at all. No, Joffrey looks like shit playing back. Yeah. Have you seen, have yet to see the one? Oh, okay. Yeah, he said, of course, you're going to score with 7 dribbles back and down. Yes, Key, what's happening? But yes, you go score with 7 dribbles.
You got to have vision.
And remember what they used to call that. Remember, they did a rule where they made Barkley stop doing that. Let's not forget, Barkley became so good that he could back any player down in the league. Remember? And at first they tried to count, and then you couldn't do it anymore. Do y'all remember that though? Barkley could literally take anybody one-on-one in the league. He was after, the Truck Robertson, Adrian Dantley, and Barkley. Barkley could take anybody inside. And they changed the rules so he couldn't do what Joker do. They changed the rules so that Barkley could not do what they allowed Joker to do. Not athletic, don't really jump a lot. They run a nice offense. Gordon got one of those backcourt cut dunks again, which again, that's his game. That's it though. That's more like a 4-5 game, really. Because the Joker plays out so much. But I mean, I don't know what the NBA is doing here. It's not that, it's just not fun basketball to watch. There's nothing about any of these players on any team that's fun to watch. Other than, I'd say, Jimmy Butler's hustle is fun to watch. Murray's ball handling at times, but there's nothing about that team that, as I say, they can't make no gate. The first 2 was terribly rated. And I have suspicion that this one is probably going to be rated just as bad as the other ones because this wasn't good basketball. And it wasn't that it's a blowout. But again, remember, what do I always say? The NBA does not seem to be able to handle close games anymore. And that Alton tip a few years ago, I'm sure he wasn't supposed to make that shot. And so it seems like this is the only way they really know how to handle games. To say, okay, we're gonna get a close game, then we better do a blowout because we can't take a chance like Alden tipping and beating these motherfuckers. But that's what it seems like. Joker gets it done ugly. Yeah, Joker gets his rebounds by flaying his arms. It's terrible. Shaq would definitely destroy him. Yeah, he wouldn't have a career. He had to face Shaq twice a month. Joker had to face Shaq twice a month. Because when you in the Western Conference, you're gonna face your conference, and then at the end of the season having to face Shaq all the time. No, there's no way. You see, half the time he wasn't even guarding Bam. They were switching him off of Bam. Because Bam was putting it in all their asses. Bam has been the most consistent player for the Heat. Win or lose, Bam has played well. And he's outmatched. He ain't it's a 7-footer and 2 6'10" dudes. So it's like they're outmatched. I bet one nigga tried to play like Joker. I'm a drag him. I agree. These games are not fun. Yeah, like it was funny watching all the people go off, but watch the ratings again. Watch the ratings be low, and it's like this is early Spurs all over again. This is first championship Spurs all over again. We don't care about it. And was that from the shortened season when the Spurs won their first championship? Wasn't that the shortened season? And so here we go with that again. We don't care about the ratings. We gonna put a poor product out. We got the draft coming up. So, we got this new guy coming in. We got the draft coming up. And all they trying to do is giving us another Ben Simmons. They bringing this boy from France, like, again, all the hype of Ben Simmons. All the hype of Ben Simmons. This dude that Sean Bradley again. You know, Sean Bradley. Probably more athletic than Sean Bradley, but still, that's what they trying to sell to you. They trying to sell somebody shaped like Sean Bradley. I mean, him and Chet Holmgren look almost identical. They got worm looking bodies. It's like there's too much like in here. Stomach, chest, arms is too much. Like a worm. He's been mid since Marquette. The game looked terrible. Yeah, it did. It did. Tyler Hambro better bring his funky ass back on the court. But can he really make a difference? Another small dude. I mean, another small dude who like he can't guard Murray, so he can't guard Caldwell Pope. He can't guard him and Brown. He'll match up better with Brown. That's about. But Brown's more athletic. Brown's a more athletic dude. So I don't know. Wembley got busted with all over him. Well, you know, now I'll say Wembley is like this. Now I showed the game they lost in that tournament. And I don't know if that was double elimination tournament or not, but I started getting where he was supposed to win. I'm like, wait a minute, is it double elimination? Didn't he just lose this tournament? So, you know, they're trying to keep the hype on him. As I said, as I spoken and mentioned before, even the game where they showed he lost, that I showed the other day where they lost, they still mostly had highlights of him. So when you did the search of his latest loss, they still had highlights of him. And I showed you the highlights the other night, and you could see his game. Look at how many times when the game was close, he wasn't even in there. So you know, he's not ready. Look, I'm already gonna tell you, he will not play this coming season. He will not play. Chad Holmgren did not play this season. And all Chad did is sprained his ankle. He sprained his ankle. They held him out the whole year. Sprained his ankle. That's what Chet did. Sprained his ankle. So you think they ain't going to hold him out this year? And again, he's nothing but hype. Like, why didn't he go into the G League? I think he was eligible to go into the G League. Why didn't he go into the G League? Why did he go play over there? Why didn't he go into the G League? Why didn't he try to go to college for 1 year to see if he can take the pressure? So we'll see. Butler is a ball player stuck in the wrong era. He just needs, was a 99. Yeah, yep, Spurs season was, yeah, thank you, Jamar, shortened season. Exactly. That was their first time pushing in foreign players because I'm pretty sure Tony Parker, I don't know if Ginobili was there, but I want to say he was there then too in 99. All that, for whatever reason, OTF, what is happening? And I know you got
to have vision.
from having crazy Jordan-like games. Yup, he ain't all that. For whatever reason, they love scripting him having crazy-like games. And think about, as I said in the video I made, it's like, you know, triple doubles, 32. You know, that's geometry, people. That's right there for you. You know, the triple double. Two players had triple doubles. You know, double 32s on you. So that's cold right there. Cold talk right there. So, like, the record he broke of Wilt Chamberlain, I want to say when they beat San Francisco, and it was 66-67 season, not 67-68, it's 66-67. They were still the Philadelphia Warriors. Philadelphia hadn't been sold to San Francisco yet. And Wilt did a triple-double through all the playoffs. Like from the first game, so that must have been what he broke. Because during that 66-67 team, there's a book, and I recommend the book. I should order it again. Really, actually a pretty good book. Two books that I need to get back that I once had was The History of the ABA and that book. I forgot already the name. Oh, the 67 season, the 76 or 70 season. Yeah, I got to remember that. Oh, so it's oh, there's Lobo. What's happening, Lobo? And I know you got
to have vision.
as you said that he's stuck in the law. Kenny Lofton Jr. put the body on Wembley. I mean, when Wembley was when he was what Chad was 2 years ahead, they went at it. You know, they went at it. That's kind of what people started looking at the way they went at it. But yeah, Lobo was the one that said that, you know, about being marketable. And I said, you know, I am terrible tonight. As I mentioned, they don't like that dude in Dallas. They didn't like that dude. They call him the unicorn. Remember, them dudes come in the league looking like Nazis. Nazis haircuts. Do New York when they both played with Dallas, you know, they Nazi haircuts. You don't think people remember that? But yeah, as I mentioned, you know, Joker is not in any national commercials. As Ali used to say, they can't make no gate. And it like how many American jerseys are you selling of Djokovic? How many Chinese jerseys are you selling of Djokovic? Inquiring minds want to know. Why do we have all these Florida teams and schools making the championship round? All of them losing. Even in softball, Florida State is in, and they got their ass kicked. Y'all remember when they was first, second year? They had them fresh Nazi cuts. Y'all don't remember that? Man, they had them fresh Nazi looking cuts, them SS officer cuts. Motherfucking Nazis, as Richard Pryor used to say. Motherfucking Nazis. So I don't know, y'all, and that just makes me think that watch them be bogus and have the Panthers win tomorrow, because I think we're going from Vegas. Yeah, we should be in Florida tomorrow. Now, do you guys? Okay, here we go. So is this going to be a sweep? Are the Panthers going to get swept? The Heat lose. I think tomorrow. Yeah, they play. I'm pretty sure they play in Miami. Or excuse me, it's Tampa Bay. What is it, the Panthers in Tampa Bay? No, it's the Lightning. They're in Florida too, though. So the Panthers, are the Panthers going to lose too? Are the Panthers going to lose tomorrow too? Have 2 Miami losses? I say no. I say no. Panthers don't lose tomorrow. Panthers win tomorrow. Oh. Panthers win tomorrow. It's already written in stone. Hey, JR Smooth, what's happening? Thank you for joining. And for being here. I know you got
to have vision.
Look, hey, PJ, look it up. They got them Nazi haircuts. Yeah, I think they're gonna win tomorrow too. I think the Panthers win tomorrow too. Baboon got more commercials. The Baboons got more commercials than Joker. And that just shows you. That shows you right there what they think about it. You know, see, they know when they have LeBron in or they have Boston in, they're gonna make a lot of money. They know that. But you can look at it this way. As I showed before, the ratings for LeBron's games was higher than these games. So it could be that they made all their money during the LeBron series, even though they got swept. That is kind of, if you look at the marketing, maybe that's because those games were higher rated. Those games were higher rated. LeBron games against Denver was higher rated games, even though they got swept. They were still higher rated games because of LeBron. And so we look at like, is that when the game? I mean, like looking at it from the gambling. Like, what gamblers really want to go on this junk here? Think about it like that. What gamblers really want to go on the junk we've been seeing? As I said, hockey is a much more believable entertainment. Hockey is on par with wrestling. Matter of fact, the last hockey game, everybody was fighting. which I didn't think I'd see any fighting in the championship. I was wrong. Them bugs was punching. The Goldie punched a dude. A dude got near and Goldie gave him one. Take that with you. Oh, so I don't know. I think they win the next game, and Butler plays great. That's what I would say. If there was any tell, that's kind of what the tell was putting together. That's what it seemed like to me. Man, it has been rough up here in this part of the world. You just never know up here, boy. So yeah, I see the Panthers winning tomorrow at home. I don't think they're going to win the series, but I think they will win tomorrow. But I don't know. It's like, as a sports fan, I'm just let down with the product. That's all. Now, can you say my prejudice on who I think should be in? Not necessarily with that, but I think we all want to see good basketball. And if you're trying to, compare this dude, first you let him break all Will Chamberlain's record, but you still can't compare him to Will Chamberlain. He's not that dominant for so long. He ain't changing the game like Will Chamberlain did. Have a team win, well, what was 32, now 33 straight victories. He's not good as Will, nowhere near. And that is why he's not marketing, because they already know nobody wants to buy nothing from him. He probably got some local commercials, but that's about it. Just local commercials. I doubt he has anything national. Yeah, I guess I can. Oh, yeah. Let's look at this one. Did you guys hear? What is it? Let me see if I can get this to come up. Ooh, the latest. I don't think this is the latest. No, this isn't it. This is new. Let's see if this gives it to me. No. Oh. Is this him today? I think this is him today. Is this today? Yeah, this is him. This is some bullshit. Oh, it was this dude. Yeah, this dude right here. All right. Nobody wants this. Okay. Yeah, this is today. All right, did y'all check this out? This guy here. NFL teams hammer gambling rules, player in wake of latest betting controversy. And it was a Colts player, I believe. So mandatory minicamps began this week. Is it this week? I thought it was next week. Some teams use the time to emphasize certain players. Don't bet. We continue hammering all these things. Be very careful. Integrity. In April, 5 players, including the Ford Lions, Fighting League. On Monday, here we go, right here. On Monday, Indianapolis Colts quarterback returner Isaiah Rodgers revealed that he was the center of another investigation, according to reports. He made hundreds of wagers, mostly 25 to 50 range, including bets on his team. Wow. Bets on the Colts. Wow. Here he is right here. Cornerback returns a kickoff during the NFL game. Wow. Roger took full responsibility for the situation. No punishment has been handed down from the NFL, which is not comment on the reports, and said he made mistakes. All I'll say is ongoing investigation, and we are constantly educating our coaches and players about the issue. Wow. Commanders defensive end, right? He was suspended indefinitely, but he can be reinserted. He can reapply next season. But yeah, this guy got put out for the season, indefinitely in April. Yeah. Washington rushed the league and asked for a PowerPoint deck team could share with the players. So it's presented to them every year, but extra emphasis. And again, remember, the NFL is the only sport that lets their players bet on sports. None of the other leagues allow this, but they do. And then here's, Detroit, Kansas City baseball spread. Oh no, it's the Lions. So this is, I mean, that just shows you there's no integrity in the NFL. Because they were, created with betters. So, hey, Lorenzo, what's happening? And I know you got to have
vision.
I saw that on the ticket, but I ain't looked much into it. It's really smoke in the city, literally. Yeah, it's not too bad here. We got it bad last week, but right now, it is really not too bad here. It's been like, because we border Canada, so Canada is 3-4 hours away, but the fires are quite a bit away, but the way they travel. Yep, I saw that on the ticker, but they look into it. Yeah, they look like they're gonna get that guy now. Yeah, so but it just shows you the hypocrisy. As I said before, Myra and Rooney were both gamblers, and I should grab my book back there. And everybody should read that book, that proves that the NFL is fixed. I mean, if you really, to know that the NFL is scripted, all you got to look is that Brady. That Brady play shows you that it's scripted. And this is what they say, the word. They say Roger Goodell, the current commissioner, he wasn't the commissioner at the time. They say he is the one that came up with the tuck rule. Because again, they had to fix the game on the fly. They had never done that before. And they say Roger Goodell was all trying, they didn't know what to do. Because again, they hated the Raiders. Even though they scripted them to win 2-3 Super Bowls, they hate the Raiders because Al Davis always testified in this beat them in court. So there's no way they wanted that. And again, if and this is how deep it is, how the script would have completely flipped. Brady fumbles there, Brady don't play no more. Do you understand that? They don't trade Drew Romfield, whatever his name was, to Dallas. Brady goes back on the bench if he gets hit with that fumble. So that spoiled a lot of plans. And they say Roger Goodell is the one that came up with the tuck rule that had never been used before and was never used again since. In the last 4 or 5 years, they voted it out. Said, oh, this don't make sense. So it's simple as that. Really is. It's just that simple. On what we are looking at. I'm working with Smoke in my store right now in Northeast Philly. I'm working with Smoke in my store. Anthony G. That's funny. That's funny. Okay. You're working with Smoke in your store. I can dig that. Thank you for coming, Anthony G. And you here, I know you got
to have vision.
if I didn't give you one already, I'm doing it again. I'm silly. I'm like Sly, but fires ain't natural. I mean, cities in Canada don't get no hotter than 80 degrees. Like them fires ain't natural. Well, the problem is people cause the fires. So I'm not saying that they're unnatural, but what I'm saying is people are reckless, and people don't realize once. But see, fire is also a natural part of how things grow. Like, if you grew tobacco, you would have to scorch the earth and then plant the tobacco seeds in the scorched earth. And so we know that the fire is a natural way of nature, taking away and giving at the same time. So it gets pretty dry and people get careless. So I'm not saying that they can't be doing this on purpose, because they can. But I'm saying also people are careless. I know that. People are careless. And when people go camping and stuff, they just smoke and stuff and throw cigarettes just any kind of way. Don't put their fires out enough. If you grill, you just put hot coals anywhere. I mean, people are careless in the woods. So I think you have to consider that too. Not counting out that they can't wait to burn out a person in a minute. Yeah, that's definitely a fact. They will burn somebody out in a minute. We already know they'll do that. That's a way of gaining control too. Is that this? Yeah. Yeah, we got some fucked up stories here. I thought there was an early one than this. I guess it's the same one. No, what's my girl talking about? Showtime Limited Ghost to Believe Tales. I have to check that out. I'm gonna start off with this one. I talked about this the other day, and they caught this mug. So the other day, a young lady mother came missing, and today they just I'll let them tell it. I like the gangster suit.
Evidence really will remain unknown to the public until the case is well into trial.
I'm sorry. I watched it earlier. All right. Our two
Major break in the case of a mother who has been missing for more than 2 months.
Yeah, Frank is tight. Frank is always tight. Look at Amanda. I mean, they play them. I must say, every day they make it work. I mean, this is great to work with your wife and look crispy and clean. I love it. Let's go.
Investigators believe they have found Madeline Kingsbury's body. The father of her children is behind bars tonight. Our Alan Henry is here right now with the late-breaking details. Alan?
Yeah, Amelia, within the past hour, Winona police gave that tragic update. Police say Fillmore County deputy found human remains this afternoon in some brush off Highway 43 near the town of Mabel. They said tips from the Kingsbury investigation led them there. And they say after those remains were found, they arrested the person who's believed to have seen her last, her former partner, Adam Travel. This is his new mugshot. The Winona County Jail's website says he was processed there around 7:15 tonight on a second-degree murder charge. He's long denied having any connection to Maddie's disappearance. She vanished after dropping her 2 kids off at a Winona daycare at the end of March. All of Maddie's belongings, like her phone and wallet, were found in her home, and the van she drove was parked in the driveway. Hundreds of volunteers have searched acres of land since then without any luck. But tonight, that search may finally be over. WCCO legal analyst Joe Tamburino says answers to questions like what exactly happened to Maddie might not come for some time.
The complaint may give us a window into what the evidence might show. The complaint might list a DNA sample. It might list some statements, but basically the bulk of the evidence really will remain unknown to the public until the case is well into trial.
As early as April, investigators zeroed in along Highway 43 in Fillmore County, and that's where the remains were found this afternoon.
Yeah, remember how terrible they had him looking with them ugly shirts? See, they dressed him up a little better in the studio. Okay. You look a little better today, bro. We'll give it to you.
Police say they're working with several agencies to quickly identify those remains. Amelia?
All right. Thank you, Alan. Madeline's 27th birthday was June 1st. Just last Thursday, her family asked people across Winona and the country to put out blue lights hoping to help light her way home. And her father posted this moving birthday message.
Happy birthday, dear Maddie.
Okay. He looked like he ain't never had a drink he didn't want. I want to see that shit. Yeah, people up here tripping, man. People are up here tripping. Yeah, this one. This one I ain't even listened to, but I've been seeing it all evening, so we can find out together. Our favorite couple, Frank and Amanda. Tell us about it.
An overnight standoff with police in St. Paul.
A 27-year-old man broke into a neighbor's home with a gun. This all happened on the east side of the city off of White Bear Avenue. Neighbors say they are shaken up, but glad no one was hurt. They told our Adam Duxter their question today is why it happened.
Just after midnight early Wednesday morning, Jay Radquist says he woke up to the sound of gunfire.
I heard 6 shots right out in front of the house here on White Bear Avenue.
Not long after, police say that man broke into a neighbor's home. A number of the people inside able to escape, while others hid in the basement for more than 2 hours.
I'm telling you, I just hid there. I wanted to put the covers over me and just hide, knowing that there's shooting going.
Yeah, he done bought him some hair. I mean, he done glued it into there's all the toupee, but goddamn, dude. He said he just hid. Like, you didn't have no heater or nothing, like no self-protection, no machete or nothing. You just hid. Ain't that what he said? I just hid. Let him tell it himself.
I'm telling you, I just hid there. I wanted to put the covers over me. Hid there. I wanted to put the covers over me. Yeah, I just hid there. I wanted to put the covers.
Oh my goodness. He just wanted to hide under the blanket like the trouble's just gonna go away. And this reminds me of one of the stupidest, I've told this many, many times, one of the stupidest crackhead stories I could ever tell. This reminds me when he said he's put it over his head. No, I told it the other day, so I'm not gonna tell it again. So too bad. Y'all missing out on my stories.
Over me and just hide, knowing that there's shooting going on just 2 houses down.
2 houses down and you hiding? Okay, it's nothing wrong with laying low, but damn, 2 houses away and you under the pillows and under the blankets like it's gonna go away?
That's very alarming.
Eventually.
About an overnight standoff with police.
Oh shit, I went back too far. Okay, where's the SWAT? Where are they bringing SWAT afterward? Okay, they brought in SWAT somewhere.
And broke into a neighbor's home.
What'd he do?
Say that man broke into a neighbor's home. A number of the people inside able to escape, while others hid in the basement for more than 2 hours.
I'm telling you, I just hid there. I wanted to put the.
Okay, here's SWAT. Here's SWAT.
Eventually.
Told him to come out with his hands up, and then there was a bang, and then they eventually accomplished what they were trying to do, I guess.
Police say in all, no one was hurt. The family inside the home at the time told WCCO off camera Wednesday they're startled, but other.
I dare say, I'm not trying to be racist, but these are Hmong people. These are all Hmong. So is a Hmong dude.
And
see that?
Then they eventually.
These are Hmong.
Accomplished.
So they went to Hmong's house.
Police say in all, no one was hurt. The family inside the home at the time told
yeah, those were Hmong.
WCCO off camera Wednesday they're startled, but otherwise okay. Radquist says it's a night he'll never forget.
Well, I'm scared.
Hell, that I'm seeing you, I'll never forget you. You look weird.
At 70 years old, I'm just wondering what's happening with all the, shooting and whatever this.
You lived in a fucked up area, buddy. That's what's happening.
Activity is here. It's very disturbing. This is a neighborhood. This is a nice neighborhood.
Well, it can't be too nice. You just had, SWAT there last night, but okay, let's go.
And it's just scary to hear.
Especially if you live there, it can't be too nice. Let's go.
To see these things happen.
Adam Duxter, WCCO News.
Did the nigga say Alan Duxter? That's his nickname. Alan Duxter? That has to be a reality breakdown. Alex Duxter. Hey, Duxter. Did you guys know Wild Bill Hickok's name?
The bulk of the evidence
wasn't Wild Bill Hickok. His name was Duck Bill Hickok. And he changed it to Wild Bill, but everybody called him Duck Bill because he had such an overbite. Damn. I told about this story, and yeah, this is kind of the outcome. I mean, we have children out of control, and we forget that what they call the innocent get affected.
Out on a friend's farm.
Tonight, his little girl is fighting for her life. The possible drunk driver traveled more than 6 miles in the wrong direction on Interstate 694 before he hit their car head on. David Schuman's here with how traveled more than 6 miles in the wrong is fighting for her life. The possible drunk driver traveled.
I had a cousin killed like this, and obviously his lights are on. Like, how does he not realize that he's going the wrong way? Like, he's not pulling to the side. He's not. How doesn't he realize? Is he that drunk and think he's just on a country road and not knowing? And this makes no sense.
Traveled more than 6 miles in the wrong direction on Interstate 694 before he hit their car head on. David Schuman's here with how friends and family are dealing with this tragedy. Just heartbreaking.
Told you before, he played on Mad TV, but let's go.
Story, David.
Frank, it's a nightmare. There's no other way to put it. The driver killed Alex Ripka instantly, and his 3-year-old daughter, Nevaeh, has been in critical condition for almost a week now. Friends of the family are asking for prayers. The happiest child, who's never been crabby, friends say. Nevaeh Ripka is now battling to live after being in a terrifying crash last week.
That little girl is a spitfire and she is a fighter. You try to be there to support the family, but deep in your heart, you don't know what to say, what to do.
State Patrol says a man driving the wrong way on 694 in Oakdale hit Nevaeh and her father, Alex. Alex was thrown from the car and killed.
He was the most amazing father. He would do anything. Nevaeh was number one in his life, no matter what. There's just not enough words to say what a good dad he was.
Alex's mother, Nevaeh's grandmother, hasn't left the 3-year-old's side in the hospital.
She's trying to work through each day, and it's tough. She hasn't had time to grieve for her own son.
The wrong-way driver was also killed in the crash. He'd been going the wrong way for several miles. State Patrol says they're investigating whether that 28-year-old was drunk.
Just so shocking for that family.
We need prayers for the family to get through the healing process, for Nevaeh to keep fighting. They are looking for a miracle for her.
You know, how... what can we say on something like that? There's nothing we can say. Oh, this is, yeah.
Skin feel tight and dry.
This area, I mean, this one right here, this just tells you. Okay, before I run this, just think about this. This the police department, now the Minneapolis proper, because St. Paul has their own police department, Minneapolis proper has its own police department. There are 2 other departments inside Minneapolis. You have the park department and you have the transit authority police. You have the park police and the transit authority police. I think all right now are under the feds. We are one of, I think, 10 cities that is under federal control. And one reason is this article right here. This is why these mugs are under federal control, because the numbers don't lie.
The report, one that hasn't been done before, about the cost of police payouts to cities in Minnesota, payouts as a result of police misconduct. These cases take a toll on people's lives, and they also take a toll on cities' bottom lines. Millions have been paid in the last decade across our state, according to this study done by Professor David Schultz at Hamline University. And the cities who paid the most, according to Dr. Schultz, are some of the biggest, which makes sense. John Croman spent the day going through this study. He's with us now. Hi, John.
Hey, Jana, this report does not include the $27 million settlement the city of Minneapolis made with the family of George Floyd. That came after the time frame for this study was over. But the most expensive item that did make this list was the city's $20 million payout to John Ruszczyk, who's the father of Justine Damon.
As the public, we have a right to know. We ought to know how much is being spent in tax dollars in terms of all this.
Hamline professor Dave Schultz set out 2 years ago to come up with a number that's hard to come by. How much has police misconduct cost the taxpayers?
What we don't know is how much money, how often, how many cities, what type of incidents are involved, what gives rise to it. And there's no state database that reports this. There's no national database.
Schultz worked with college students in the nonprofit Public Records Media, sent out this data practices questionnaire to 239 governmental entities asking what they paid out between 2010 and 2020 to settle claims and lawsuits. About 30% had done payouts for mistakes by law enforcement officers.
What we found was approximately 500 situations in which, across the state of Minnesota, municipalities or governments paid out for police misconduct.
Minneapolis led the way with 177 incidents that led to payouts. Bloomington came in second with 126 and St. Paul third with 47.
This is neither pro-police nor anti-police, this report. For people who are pro-police, they can come back and say over a 10-year period, only 495 out of maybe millions of interactions. That's pretty good. For people who are, let's say, anti-police who want to reform, they say 495, there's some problems here.
Accurate data is key. This report, unfortunately, does not provide an avenue to do that.
That's Bloomington Police Chief Booker Hodges, who took issue with the report, noting something you see in the spreadsheet. A lot of the claims his city reported were for property damage, not excessive force.
If you look at the data, 53 of those claims resulted in no payments to claimants. Furthermore, the majority of the claims were not allegations of misconduct, meaning they were not allegations that we were out here using force on people.
The dollar amounts are in dispute. Schultz's report puts the price tag at $160 million, with Minneapolis responsible for $136 million of that. But the city points to its own officer payout dashboard and says their count for that time period is actually $36 million, exactly $100 million off. Schultz already acknowledged that this maiden voyage may have some calculation errors.
This is what came up when we did the numbers several months ago. We triple-checked it. Was there a glitch in the system? Was there a mistake? Was there an inputting error? There very well could be. I would love people to sort of say, here's stuff that we found in it that you didn't find, or here's mistakes, et cetera, et cetera. Because again, I confess and say, first crack at a project that took over 2 years to gather information.
So if you go with the city's figures, it would be $36 million from Minneapolis out of $60 million statewide in a 10-year period versus $136 out of 160. Schultz argues that still gives us more information than we've had in the past on these things. Now, some state lawmakers, in fact, say they're on board with the idea of requiring cities to report those settlements to the legislature or the post board for a common figure. And Jana, Chief Hodges is one of Dave Schultz's graduate students from Hamline, so they'll probably have a conversation.
Look at that fun John Croman fact. But the point being that no one's collecting this data officially, and it's kind of like David Schultz is saying, well, you should, because we need to fill in the gaps.
Right. You know, and the city of Minneapolis has that dashboard, which you can go case by case and see who they paid it to, which is really good, but there's no statewide version of that.
All right. Well, one thing that study can't pin down is how much money is coming from payouts and how much is coming from third-party insurance. A lot of smaller cities pay into one bigger trust fund, which pays out when needed. But the money going in and out of that fund isn't publicly available. And that's the stuff you want to know. How much of your money is going into this?
Hyundai Tucson versus Honda CR-V.
Wow. That's what we want to know. So it just shows you, wow, it just shows you that Again, I'm not reporting it pro-police or anti-police. I'm just reporting it that like here, and they mentioned, they didn't even say George Floyd money. I mean, they paid all this money out to these people, and the people were getting paid. So it's like they're doubling taking money from people because the officers that are getting paid, they're getting insurance. And to the point where they get fired, and then you got to give out, you've paid them all this money already, and then you got to pay out all this extra money. And it seems like it happens so much in Minneapolis, it seems like it's acceptable. And see, that's for the people that live there to say, the people that govern, again, how can this be acceptable? And so this is the part. So it's not just Floyd that put him under the Fed control, because I don't think St. Paul is under Fed control. And Bloomington, the reason why that brother came out, well, like they said, one, he had been the dude's student, so, he was the top face to argue. But the other part is they paid out the second most, and they're a town only about 60 to 70,000, maybe 80 at the most. I don't think there's 100,000 people in Bloomington. I live very close to Bloomington. Let's see. Let's see how many people. So Bloomington, Minnesota. Should we go? Population of Bloomington, Minnesota. Population of Bloomington, Minnesota. Here we go. Yeah, it has 89,000 people. 89,000 people. And yet it's St. Paul was 3, and St. Paul has closer to 400,000 people. Something like 370, 80, 90, somewhere in there. So do you see that's why he came up and got on, because it makes them look bad that their city is that much smaller, yet because it kind of shows corruption a little bit. Like people, what did Charlie Murphy call it? People like going over, not the edge, but just boundaries, going over boundaries.
An innocent father killed.
But I didn't get to play pickleball, but it's past midnight. But man, I got in damn near. So I ran 2 miles on this, and I put it at like a 4% incline. So I got 2 miles on that, and then taking care of my plants and stuff. I got 4 miles in today. And I worked worked my rope. Tomorrow will be arm weights, hand weights. Might play pickleball tomorrow, but I doubt it because my nephew graduates tomorrow. So I doubt, unless I get off here early enough and wake my punk ass up and go play in the morning. But that might not be happening. I don't know. We'll see. I don't even know why I picked this motherfucker up. So I don't know if I'm even going to get to play tomorrow. There is one thing that I did want to show. Yeah. Let's see if it's here. And I got to find it all. Let's see. Right there. Probably using this. Yes. This happened another number of years ago. And I'm going to do some research. Oh, here he is right here, I think. Yeah, I think he's right here. So I can do a little more research on him. This one might be a little more interesting. Yeah, but this would be cool. This would be a good start. So yeah, I'm going to let this rock for a minute. And I know it's not a new story, but as I said before, people don't realize how much chemicals affect us. And the simplest study that you can look up for yourself is the study of plastics. And this study was done, let me see, Keelan was born in 2000. I was out there before the boys. So this study was probably done in, I still was running a lab, so it had to be like 97, 98, somewhere in there. But the study was done, and what it showed was that young girls, and this was like a 20-year study, that young girls that lived near plastic factories, young girls had their periods sooner, and they started growing breasts sooner just by living by these plastics that's released in the air. Now, I guess in a way, this is kind of perfect for all the smoke they say coming down, however it's coming down. And this is old, and I'm sure you've heard about this before, but I think it's interesting to hear it again.
California scientists who discovered that a popular herbicide may have harmful effects on the endocrine system. Tyrone Hayes was first hired in 1997 by a company that later became agribusiness giant Syngenta. They asked him to study their product, atrazine, a pesticide that is applied to more than half the corn crops in the United States and widely used on golf courses and Christmas tree farms. But after Hayes found results that the manufacturer did not expect, that atrazine causes sexual abnormalities in frogs and could cause the same problems for humans, Syngenta refused to allow him to publish his work. This was the start of an epic feud between the scientist and the corporation.
Now a new article in the New Yorker magazine uses court documents from a class action lawsuit against Syngenta to show how it sought to prevent the Environmental Protection Agency from banning the profitable chemical, which is already banned by the European Union. To start with, the company's public relations team drafted a list of 4 goals. Reporter Rachel Aviv writes, quote, the first was, quote, discredit Hayes. In a spiral-bound notebook, Syngenta's communications manager, Sherry Ford, who referred to Hayes by his initials, wrote that the company could prevent citing of TH data by revealing him as non-credible. He was a frequent topic of conversation at company meetings. Syngenta looked for ways to exploit Hayes' faults, problems. If TH involved in scandal, Enviros will drop him, Ford wrote. Well, for more, we're joined by TH himself. That's right, Tyrone Hayes is with us, professor of integrative biology at the University of California, Berkeley, joining us from the campus TV station right now in Berkeley. Welcome to Democracy Now! Can you tell us what happened to you, how you were originally tied to Syngenta, the research you did, and what prevented you from originally publishing it?
Well, here at Berkeley, I was a new assistant professor. I was already studying the effects of hormones and the effects of chemicals that interfere with hormones on amphibian development. And I was approached by the manufacturer and asked to study the effects of atrazine, the herbicide, on frogs. And after I discovered that it interfered with male development and caused males to turn into females to develop eggs, the company tried to prevent me from publishing and from discussing that work with other scientists outside of their panel.
What was the process within the company as you raised your findings? What was their immediate reaction to what you had come across?
Well, initially they seemed sort of supportive. We designed more studies, we designed more analysis, and they encouraged me to do more analysis. But as the further analysis just supported the original finding, they became less interested in moving forward very quickly. And eventually they moved to asking me to manipulate data or to misrepresent data. And ultimately they told me I could not publish or could not talk about the data outside of their closed panel.
And Professor Hayes, talk about exactly what you found. What were the abnormalities you found in frogs, the gender-bending nature of this drug, atrazine?
Well, initially we found that the larynx or the voice box in exposed males didn't grow properly. And this was an indication that the male hormone testosterone was not being produced at appropriate levels. And eventually we found that not only were these males demasculinized or chemically castrated, but they also were starting to develop ovaries or starting to develop eggs. And eventually we discovered that these males didn't breed properly, that some of the males actually completely turned into females. So we had genetic males that were laying eggs and reproducing as females. And now we're starting to show that some of these males actually show, I guess, what we'd call homosexual behavior. They actually prefer to mate with other males.
And so where did you go with your research?
Well, eventually what happened was the EPA insisted that, the Environmental Protection Agency insisted that the manufacturer release me from the confidentiality contract. And we published our findings in pretty high-ranking journals such as Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. We published some work in Nature. We published work in Environmental Health Perspectives, which is a journal sponsored by the National Institutes of Health.
And when did you begin to get a sense that the company was organizing a campaign against you? What were the signs that you saw post the period when you published your findings?
Before we published the findings and before the EPA became involved, the company tried to purchase the data. They tried to give me a new contract so that they would then control the data and the experiments. They actually tried to get me to come and visit the company to get control of those data. And when I refused, I invited them to the university. I offered to share data, but they wanted to purchase the data. And then they actually, as mentioned in a New York article, they actually hired scientists to try to refute the data or to pick apart the data, and eventually they hired.
He came prepared. Look at him, he whipped. He got the lumberjack with the hat to match. Look at, he came ready. But the information he's telling is solid.
Scientists to do experiments that they claim refuted our data, and then that escalated to the company, actually Tim Pasteur in particular, and others from the company coming to presentations or lectures that I was giving to make handouts or to stand up and refute the data, and eventually it even led to things like threats of violence. Tim Pasteur, for example, before I would give a talk, would literally threaten, whisper in my ear that he could have me lynched, or he would quote, said he would send some of his good old boys to show me what it's like to
he doesn't strike me as being a scary type, but I don't know.
Be gay, or at one point he threatened my wife and my daughter with sexual violence. He would whisper.
I would have whooped his ass. I would have whooped his ass. If he would have threatened my daughter, I'd have whooped his ass right in public. But okay, let's go.
Things like, your wife's at home alone right now. How do you know I haven't sent somebody there to take care of her? Isn't your daughter there? So eventually it really slipped into some, pretty scary tactics.
So what did you do? I mean, this is very serious. You could bring criminal charges if you're being threatened and stalked in this way.
Well, initially, I went to my vice chancellor here at the university. I went to my dean. I went to legal counsel here at the university. And I was told by legal counsel I was told, first of all, by the vice chancellor for research at the time that, well, you published the work, it's over. So I don't understand what the problem is. And I tried to impress upon her, Beth Burnside at the time, that that it wasn't over, that I was really being pursued by the manufacturer. And eventually, when I spoke with the lawyer here at the university, I was told that, well, I represent the university and I protect the university from liability. You're kind of on your own. And I remember I looked at him and I said, but the very university, from the Latin universitas, is a collection of scholars, of teachers and students. So who is this entity, the university, that you represent that doesn't include me? But clearly there's some entity that doesn't really include us, the professors and students, and doesn't really protect our academic freedom, I think, the way that it should.
I wanted to ask you about one of your critics, Elizabeth Whalen, president of the American Council on Science and Health. When the New York Times ran a critical story about the herbicide as part of its Toxic Water series in 2009, she referred to its reporting as, quote, all the news that's fit to scare. This is a clip of Whalen from an interview on MSNBC.
I very much disagree with the New York Times story, which is really raising concerns about a totally bogus risk. Atrazine has been used for more than 50 years. It's very, very tightly regulated. Even the Environmental Protection.
Just because it's regulated doesn't mean it's good for people. What was that one pesticide, that one weed that they put around people? Yeah, remember napalm? They had guys walking through napalm after they dropped it.
Agency, which is not known for soft pedaling about environmental chemicals, even they say it's safe.
Well, it turns out that Syngenta has been a long-term financial supporter of Whalen's organization, the American Council on Science and Health, paying them at least $100,000. Your comments on her remarks?
Well, again, they're paid remarks. And one of the most disheartening things in this whole process is that many of my critics, it's one to be academic if you come and say, well, we interpreted the data this way and we want to argue about this point. But these people really didn't even have an opinion. These opinions were written by the manufacturer, and they were paid to put their names on them to endorse the opinions of the manufacturer. So, that's one of the most disheartening things, that they were really just personalities for sale. And many of the things that she's saying there is just not true. Any independent study from any scientist that's not funded by Syngenta has found similar problems with atrazine, not just my work on frogs, but I've just published a paper with 22 scientists from around the world, from 12 different countries, who've shown that atrazine causes sexual problems in mammals, and that atrazine causes sexual problems in birds, amphibians, fish. So it's not just my work in amphibians. And also with regards to the EPA, one of the scientific advisory panel members on the EPA that was supposed to review atrazine, turns out, is paid and works for Syngenta. So the whole process was tainted, and in fact, the EPA ignored the scientific advisory panel's opinion and actually decided to keep atrazine on the market and not to do any more studies, when that clearly wasn't the recommendation of the scientific advisory panel.
I wanted to go back just a second to your remarks about your university, because obviously there are many questions about major universities around the country being in some way or other supported financially by the pharmaceutical.
I guess I can kill it for now. Let me look this work up. I'm not going to do the work for you. Look this work up. He will show you the studies of the frogs and how once they spray these frogs, in some instances, the frogs the male frog went on to lay eggs, or a type of egg. But they started putting these chemicals on these frogs, and these frogs started acting like females. And that's just the study. Now, I'm not saying that stuff is everywhere, but it goes back to what I'm telling you, what I mentioned tonight about going back to the plastics and the people and how it was affecting the young people by just the exhaust coming from the factories. So we're talking about a chemical to be put in the air, to be put on food or something you're eating and they didn't wash it off enough. And we know how many they lie about chemicals. Like part of the chemicals they try to tell you in World War II that they gassed people was actually chemicals that took lice and stuff off people. You can find this. They'll show canisters, and some of these canisters, that's what they were made for. They were made to fumigate people. And you can also find where the people working in those camps were allowed to murder the guards of the camps. So now we've moved away. I'll say this, we've moved in a lot of ways away from the smokestack society. We're not really part of it. Everybody knows the book 1985. If I remember right, he wrote a book called, I think, 1986. Same guy. He wrote Animal Farm, but he wrote 1985. There's movie, book. But he was the first to really make me look at my world. And what he was saying is the world I had hoped when I had went to college, came back, quit playing ball, to get into was slowly going away. And that was the auto industry. And remember, a big part of the auto industry is auto suppliers. And that was slowly going away. And smokestack, again, is what causes the exhaust. But Roundup is another one if you worked around Roundup. I mean, remember, men worked around asbestos regularly. You're still seeing, class action suits for making people. Do you know how long it takes to knock down a building with asbestos if they can't take it out slow enough? You know how they got to knock those buildings down? Because they can't just knock those buildings down and let all that shit in the air. It has all that asbestos in the air. So it's just something to think about. I came across earlier. He has a lot of other work that you can, make it upon yourself, what you think about it. It says South Africa, they're on the edge of darkness. Oh, here he goes. Maybe we can catch this. Maybe we can catch this. This is one of his talks. It's not that long. Shouldn't be very long. Yeah. All right. This is one of his talks. Let's see what this is. This might be what I was looking for. Let's see.
A refurbished warehouse district. On a spring night, people gather at a creative space. But they aren't here for wine and sculpture. They're here to hear about frogs.
I'm going to tell you a story tonight I call From Silent Spring to Silent Night, A Tale of Toads and Men.
Few biologists have a story like Tyrone Hayes.
The largest chemical company in the world, Novartis, asked us to test their #1 selling product, atrazine. I never heard of it.
That was 1997, and Dr. Hayes quickly began learning about the world's best-selling pesticide. Using African clawed frogs in his research, he came to a controversial conclusion.
We found that atrazine had demasculinizing effects on exposed males. So the voice box or the larynx didn't grow properly. Testosterone levels were really low. We eventually found out that sperm production was really low. We also found out that the exposed males could be feminized. They would grow ovaries or grow eggs.
It's easy to see why people come to listen to Hayes. He's engaging.
Ooh, I know what I'm not drinking tonight.
And funny. But he has one simple way of making the connection between his audience and his frogs.
So as they tell you what atrazine does to this frog's hormones, you should be thinking about what it does to me, to humans.
Atrazine is now the second most widely used pesticide in the U.S. And the EPA has recently drafted a report citing atrazine as a chronic risk, not just for frogs, but mammals, birds, and other wildlife, even when used according to labels. Chemical companies and agriculture associations refute the research, citing the chemical's role in increasing agricultural output and previous studies finding that atrazine is safe. For the University of Nebraska-Omaha's Alan Koak, the issue is far larger than a single chemical.
We have atrazine in the water in concert with a suite of other chemicals.
Sitting just a few miles north of where the Elkhorn meets the Platte, before it flows into the Missouri, Koak's research station is perfectly placed.
Every time it rains, there's going to be surface runoff from both the towns and the agricultural areas. All of the water that runs off is, for all practical purposes, passing this point.
But it's not just the water he's interested in. It's the glop, the sediment that mixes with it and always has.
Many chemicals actually adhere to the sediment particles and move downstream associated with the sediment particles themselves. So it's not like we have to get rid of the nasty, ugly sediment to do our work. The sediment is our work.
Because spring rains raise the Elkhorn's levels dramatically, grad student Jonathan Ali has the not-so-enviable task of hauling buckets of water back to the lab to recreate field conditions without nature's complications. What they've seen so far in minnows echoes what Tyrone Hayes was finding with frogs, though with a small twist.
We see that females exposed are defeminized. So they produce less of the egg yolk protein that they need to produce healthy eggs.
You may be thinking, well, who cares about the little fish? On a molecular level, it's not that different.
Because the genetic structures of fish and humans are strikingly similar, and the chemical cocktail spilling into our waterways spikes during the growing season, so does Koak's concern for expectant mothers.
If I had a daughter that was pregnant and it was in the spring, I would encourage my daughter to drink filtered water. It's just the cost relative to the potential adverse impacts, the cost is minimal. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Omaha drinking water. I'm just saying, why take that risk?
That risk is what agencies like the EPA are studying. Meanwhile, the Elkhorn River keeps on flowing, transporting whatever glop it picks up along the way.
We are all in this together. The days of thinking what happens in my backyard or what happens on my ranch is my business and it doesn't really affect anyone else. It's just not true.
You can even research that a little more. That there's, I mean, he does. You can find like the actual frogs, and you see what they're doing. I mean, you can find that. Now I was thinking maybe that was it, but it's there where you can find where they put the chemicals on the frogs and what happens to the frogs. So, and you know, I know he wearing that black and red and whatever that means to whatever. Ah, flip, whipped, and dipped. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. And you know, that's not targeting nobody or nothing. It's just these are things you hear about Zion. Yeah, I don't, you know what I care about him? What do I care about him? What do I care about Zion? Sounds like again we got lames. It's just interesting, dudes who like I guess I'll give Magic Johnson. Like Magic Johnson was getting girls in junior high. And I guess if you weren't getting girls in junior high, it'd be easy for you to be a simp and just fall and not understand what true beauty is. Not understanding the difference between seeing a new female and seeing a female that's pretty. Because some people don't know the difference. If they knew, to some people, every new girl they see is pretty. And not really understanding what a beautiful woman is. And so it sounded like the young man, again, you know, he was tricking. I don't know. I really ain't got no opinion. It's a waste of thoughts. But that's that. I guess that's the only thing I could really say is it's like a lot of these cats, they don't get girls like that until, you know, they be out. And because their lack of really macking on girls, they don't know how to get girls. And so what some generations learn, they listen to Bell, Biv, and DeVoe. They listen to them. Never trust a big butt and a smile. And since nowadays a lot of young women have fake big butts, you should doubly not trust them. Because what did they say? I should have the cut. Those girls are poison. So that's the way I look at it. Yeah, you can tell the motherfucker's a goofy. Yeah, he's definitely a goofy. You got to move her to the ND. But yeah, he's a goofy. He's a lame that, you know, just started getting girls. That's what it shows you. It just started getting girls. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny. And I heard some funny shit. You know, my son's birthday was the other day. And I don't know if I mentioned this shit, but I'll say it again. It's like, she said her man, like when they all get together, all my children get together, they get to say it about me. And I guess that makes her mad that everybody gets to talk about me. That motherfucker ain't comfortable. These same nigga was wearing one of my old coats that I gave to her other man. So simps be all around. Built like ants, bro. They ain't even attractive. Dude sounded like a weirdo in that Snapchat. I kind of agree. And that's the thing is these dudes is looking at these artificial creations, not realizing that that's what they are. You know, before and after. I know it was let me see. There was another story I wanted to show you just to kind of let's see. See if I can find this. Cause this happened down in Florida. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Let me see. Let me find this. Let's see. Busted. I wanted to say, see if this is it. Oh, this might. No, this happened today. This happened today. Let me see. This isn't today, though. No, this was in Florida. I don't see it. I just wanted to show the way the women look, though. Is this her? This might be it. Let's see. No, this is not new. This is old. No, I don't think this is a new. No, this story's old. This wasn't what I was looking for. Yeah, I don't see it. But I want to show like the difference. June 6th. Let's see if that finds anything for me. I didn't change nothing. Huh. I can't find. Let me see if it's on my phone. But it just shows how women looked, because it showed how they look made up, and they showed how they looked in their mug shots. No, it's not in here. Lost it. Oh well, I lost it. And I don't seem to be able to search it, but it showed a perfect how they look before and after the makeup. And I know I could find that in others, but it just, this was a prime example for what we was talking about. Yeah, it gave me the same thing. No, this would happen today or yesterday. These young girls got busted in Florida yesterday or day before, and they had like they had a shitload of cocaine. Is this it? No, this ain't it. This ain't new. No. This was today, and these all stories is old. No, it doesn't give me any different results. Same results. Yeah, I can't find it, because I know all these other results are going to be older, but it just shows you how they look. And that's the only reason the story in itself was stupid. It doesn't tell why they're stopped. It sounds like, a padded bus story, because it doesn't tell you why they were stopped. Like, what's the chances you just going to score like that and bust somebody? I wonder if it's on here. Might be on here. Florida cops. Drug. Whoops. I already looked up some shit for me. Drug bust on June 6th. Let's see if that's, whoops. Bust on June 6th. No, it doesn't have it either. It's not on here. Nope. It's not on here. Oh well. But that's the thing is, I mean, it's hard for me to, it's hard for me to understand, like, the whole manosphere thing and the simp thing with men, especially athletes. But I guess what I was trying to say is, like, just kill this. Yeah. I guess, like, my popularity, or even like I've tried to show, even with Magic, we was used to being with girls since we was like elementary and junior high. And so as Magic went into the pro ball, it was easy for him to go into sex magic because they already knew that he was into that. It was easy for him to fall into that role. But but again, he wasn't a dude that wasn't macking on girls. He was macking on girls his whole life. And so that's how I know most athletes, but we see time and time again where athletes are gullible. Like Mike Tyson with Robin Givens. Like why? Like she wasn't even pretty when she was young. And there's some questions about what Robin is, but that's not why I'm here. But that's what he went for. Why? Again, he was a dude that really didn't start getting women until he became champion. Ali was the same way. They say Ali met the first time like that. The first time he had sex with a woman, he married her, and he adopted her son. That was another reason why Ali shouldn't have went to the draft. Ali married the first woman he had sex with. He married her. Sunny, I think her name was Sunny, maybe was his first wife, and he adopted her son. Which meant he shouldn't have been drafted because he was married. He had already got, which was called 1Y, which means he wasn't eligible because he couldn't read and write, and he had the two dependents. So that just shows you how crooked they were going after Ali. He's about to wife up a chick that professionally gets skeeted on. You are so wrong. You are so wrong with that. You are so wrong. Hump, babe! Oh, you are so wrong with that. Yeah, that's just, dudes are simps. That's all it is. Yeah, they do. And it's like, this is nothing new. I just point Ali out because it's nothing new. It's nothing new for dudes to, just some people joke their way and just don't learn the simple art of mating, the simple art of dating. I mean, that's why, like, when people, I'm not gonna use this, but like when people you see on TV and movies where people ask somebody to go to the prom or some shit like that, and how it's a whole episode. It take a whole episode to talk about how nervous the dude is. Hell, when I was a junior, I went to the two major high schools in my city. I went to both proms. I was asked by my girlfriend to go to her prom as a junior. I was asked to go to her prom. And then later I took another girl to my prom as a junior. So it wasn't, no tense up. I was going with the one girl. And then me and the other girl was just hanging out. I was like, damn, the prom is down here. We down here. You want to go? And she's like, shit, let's go. But I will tell the full story about that girl. After the prom, we got a room. And when she didn't show up about noon at home, they was out looking for her. They was out looking for her. So I finally took her, I took her near enough home. But yeah, they was looking for her because we left the prom and went right. It was one of those fun nights where I think when we went to the prom, we had smoked all the weed. So he's out of weed. So I was looking for my cousin to get some more weed. And sure enough, I pick him up at the spot. And he's like, damn, right on time. I'm like, you got some weed? He's like, open your hand. And so we had little champagne glasses. And he just stuffed all the glasses. We had like 2 or 3. And he just stuffed them all with weed. He had like a pound on him. And we was going, like my hotel was out by past where I live. But I had to go back out that side of town anyway. So that was a fun night. That weed was crusher. Remember that night. But they're looking for her. I remember my cousin called me. He's like, man, you still with that girl? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I heard they looking for her. I'm like, for what? Like, cause she ain't come home. I'm like, oh. But yeah, he called me at the hotel. So one of my cousins called me. Maybe it was my cousin that got the room for me because I was only probably 16 at the time. 16, maybe. No, I hadn't even turned 17. The school was still in, so I wasn't even 17. I was still 16. So it must have been my cousin. He must have heard it from somebody looking for her. But yeah, I was like, that girl still out there with you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you might want to take her home before they come kick the door in on you. So I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine. But I mean, look at Steve Harvey. You know, he took a girl, he took a ex hustler's woman, a woman that obviously, you know, that was her way of getting up, was getting these hustlers. So, you know, she looked at the first way of getting up was getting with this hustler that was hustling that dope. So that was her way of getting up. So, and then Steve Harvey still married her. And what was her name? Peta. God, Sly was here. He would Piata. But this chick was like a straight porn chick that later started singing opera. Pia Zadora. Do y'all remember her? Pia Zadora. I wouldn't even know how to spell that shit. But Pia Zadora used to be in pornos. And then she married this rich dude. And all of a sudden she was in movies and shit that wasn't pornos. And she became like an opera singer. Pia Zadora. Look her up. I don't even know how to spell that shit. But Pia Zadora was her name. Tracy Lore. Tracy Lore is probably the most gangster porno ex-porn chick there ever was. Tracy Lore was doing porn at 15, 14, 15. Made money off doing all this porn. She made money off it. And then when the feds came in and found out that she was underage, they took all them videos off. And what do we see her in? Tracy Lore was in that Johnny Depp was in it. Crybaby. Tracy Lore is in Crybaby. Ricky Lake, Johnny Depp, and Tracy Lore. There's a movie called Crybaby. But Tracy Lore was in the movies, but she got all them movies taken out. She was like, hey, I was 15 in them movies. She ain't get that money back though, did she? Yeah, that's funny how these clowns with the biggest dumpsters. Come dumpsters, yeah. I mean, Cardi B was stripping in the club, and dude wifed her up, and then she was talking about poisoning people and stuff, you know, robbing people. Again, I mean, think about it. Now, for a true player, even if you tricking with a chick, you know, one, she ain't gonna have no access to my drinks. I am never going to take anything from her, no drinks or anything. I would already know that. So there's nothing she could give me that would make me. Now, maybe if she put some in her coochie and stuff and I licked her coochie, maybe that might be an instance where it's like, hey, that's sleepy coochie. Look, did she put the sleeping pill in the coochie? You know, oh, shit. Wow, no, how bad? Fall asleep in her coochie and shit. But other than that, I couldn't get got. Like being robbed by a chick, really? You know, I would, I couldn't see getting robbed by a woman. So, but it's a different kind of simp. You know, dudes trick. See, again, okay. It's like, it's really having the pimp mentality. Like, even though you tricking, you can still be in charge because a woman is used to you being in charge, especially you paying that dough. So if you're a real man, you should be able to even control something like that. Like, nah, you ain't doing none of that shit. Keep all your shit inside your purse. I got weed here. You got a drink, you drink that shit. Don't try to give me shit. No, I don't want no powder. I don't want shit you got, but some of that coochie. Matter of fact, take all your shit off. Here go a couple dollars to take all your shit off. I mean, that's how you stay in charge. You ain't going like I had a girl. One of my girls was the best at working dudes. I remember one dude, she got like, before they even did anything, she got like $400 out of him. Just because every time she would take something off, she's making him pay. And she was good at that. She was real good at that. And I told this story before, you know, it was the handy wipes, the little handy wipes. Because I guess when he skeeted, he hit her and all in the face and shit. And so we was going to the store, and she's like, I need handy wipes. And so from then on, that was a joke between us, you know, handy wipes and shit. But But I'll say this, it takes a certain man to, really like if the girls is your women, it takes a certain man that don't mind that. That is in such a in charge that his woman is one of the girls. And sometimes his woman could be his top bitch or his bottom bitch. And some people ain't cut like that. Some people really could never do anything like that. Or get over it. Remember the movie where a dude gave her his woman $1 million, and then in his own mind he's creating all this shit? But yet he agreed to take the $1 million? Now, you know how a pimp would do? A pimp would be like, hey, have a good time. Be like, hey, like, it'd be the exchange. You give me the money, you take the bitch. Just like that. Have a good time. See you win, you can keep her for 2 weeks. And when she came back, I wouldn't ask her for shit. I wouldn't ask her. I wouldn't give a fuck. I'm like, we got this bread tax-free, and all you had to do is trick. Okay, let's have a good life. But the average man is like in that movie. He'd be going crazy. Well, he's pounding her right now. It's 10:30. He's probably pounding her right. That's how weak motherfuckers be thinking. Like, really giving a fuck. Like a motherfucker, your woman don't come home and shit, and you start creating all these stories. I mean, if she do it too often, then fuck her, leave her. But you creating all these stories. And then the stories may be true. But until you really know they true, quit writing stories. Making yourself crazy. And jealousy is weakness. I mean, jealousy is one of the weakest attributes that anybody can ever have, is jealousy. I don't talk about anybody because I'm jealous. I ain't jealous of any nigga in this world. I'm only jealous of beautiful women, and I ain't standing next to them. I'm jealous of them. I should be standing next to you, baby. And that's a simple nigga be jealous of niggas and stuff. You see niggas on this shit be jealous of motherfuckers. Really mad at motherfuckers off of this bullshit, off what people say. I don't, you don't never see me coming here bashing sisters. I've met good sisters. I'm about to marry a sister that comes from a family of a bunch of beautiful sisters. So, he said me, it's ratchet on both sides. Shit, my 3 sons' mom, her side of the family is some of the most ratchet people on earth. So it ain't just one group of ratchet people. Ratchet people can be anybody. What time is it? Because I'm not going to go terribly late. Yeah, I'm not going to go too much later, but I still feel hyped, so I can talk some more shit. Hey, Chris Mathers, what is happening? And for coming on tonight, I know you got to have vision. How he should pay her. I Bobo said her name, but she was good. She's like, oh, you want to see this shirt off? Okay, well, you need to throw that bread there. She throw the shirt off. Oh, you want me to take my bra off? Oh, she was good at that shit. She was good. That shit. I almost said her name again. I don't even know if this chick is dead or alive either. I resent that I didn't take that chick to Florida with me. We was going to go to Arizona, and didn't take her. I was like, I can't really do it. Can't really do it. But I was tempted because she was, that chick, I mean, she had the bluest eyes. I think my son may be the only person I've seen eyes as blue as hers. She was truly a meeting in the ladies' room, or the men all pause. I've seen very few women in my life that make everybody pause. Like, I guess they don't even show the shit in movies anymore. They used to have the movies where, the Hollywood star would walk through a regular place and everybody's just like froze, like, oh, there's so-and-so, But we would go into Grand Slam, and I mean, there's plenty pretty bitches up in there, and this chick, bad. She was bad. She was really bad. Blonde, had her hair cut really short, but her eyes just took over the room. And I said, Matumbo's big ugly ass, he's downstairs and nobody's talking to him. And me and her and a bunch of my friends, we sitting at tables. We got a table upstairs in the slam and everybody's sitting around us talking shit, getting drunk. Matumbo down there taking up space being ugly. Because he was probably one of the ugliest men I ever saw. Now, Patrick Ewing is a very ugly man too, but he got game because he had a girl here and he had an Asian Hmong chick here that was 4 or 5 years I knew her. She was dedicated to him because when he wasn't in town, she was at the club. And if she didn't fly out where he was, she was dedicated to him. He was married by then too. But that chick was dedicated to him. So, he came in town, that was his chick. And there's players that had that. They had chicks in town. They go to certain towns, that's their chick. I knew common men like that. I told a story about, my friend Curtis. Curtis was like that. Curtis would go somewhere and he'd have a woman that lived in that town. Be engaged to her and shit. He'd go to another town, he'd be engaged to another woman. And so, people with money, and so that's the way to do it instead of just simping, getting caught and not being in control. Because when you trick, you should ultimately be in control because you're paying for a service. So the minute that a chick starts suggesting shit, you ain't in control. Nah, bitch, you ain't doing that shit. Take all that shit off. Come do this. It should be like that. No emotion, no nothing. I'm not with you to get no talking, no emotion. Just come do what you need to do. You paying the money. Why wouldn't you be in control? Because that's what Cardi B talking about. Motherfuckers ain't being in control. I ain't having no woman give me no drink, pour me no drink. I ain't gonna have no woman roll me a fucking blunt from some of her weed. I wouldn't even do that. No, I got my own weed. We smoke my weed. Or whatever your thing is. No, I got my beer right here. I'm popping the cap. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to, this day and age, hey, why don't you try this? Thank you. Don't mind if I do. I mean, who's really that gullible? But see, again, dudes ain't being in control and ain't used to being in control. Again, because your macking is weak. Dudes be all nervous. You done paid for some pussy and you all nervous. What are you nervous about? You are in charge because you got the money. So. Oh, man. Like, I'll tell you some funny shit. Read about Elvis Presley and shit. How, they were so worried about him getting somebody pregnant and having to pay child support and shit. How they would just have girls he would just dry hump. You can read these stories. Well, Elvis just likes to hump, He was probably popping a few of them, but it's just, these chicks tell these stories, Elvis and I are really, hot and heavy dry humping. I don't know how hot and heavy the dry humping can be, but hey, if that's what got you all off back in 1952, hey, or 1957, right on for you. So you can take that how you want to take it. That's just part of what's real. Why Matumbo catching strays? Oh, he wasn't catching even that. Like, I felt so bad. Do y'all remember, he's in that picture, Billy Williams. Do y'all remember Billy Williams that hooped at Georgetown, the one that cussed on TV? Y'all remember Billy Williams that cussed on TV when the Georgetown won the national championship? It was like, well, Billy, what's going on? Billy was like, well, we was taken to Akeem, and I think he got nervous, and he went, damn! And he just kind of froze. But anyway, it was so bad where we kind of up and down this motherfucker. We go dancing and we fucking with people just all up and down. And I remember Billy Williams was talking to Matumbo. One of his teammates must have felt bad for him. Because I remember I had to come downstairs for something. And I saw, because when I came in, I'm with this chick, I'm with this chick. And, motherfuckers know us and shit, speaking to us, And he looking at my chick because this chick was bad. So everybody looking at her. And then when I remember I came back downstairs, maybe to dance or something, I saw him again and Billy Williams was talking to him. I'm like, okay. He's like, hey, it ain't so bad. You know, big fella, maybe next time. And I imagine maybe he could have bought some, but man, that was an ugly man. That was a really ugly man. Because just because you're tall don't mean you got to be an ugly person. There's tall people that ain't so ugly. But everybody, I guess, has their little quirks. Remember Shaq? You know, they made fun of Shaq in Bedazzled. Yeah. Saying that, you know, his package wasn't very noble. But you never know. But you never know. If you get with somebody and then you gotta sign a contract with them, well, you need to sign here before I slam you. You know, you need to sign this. You're not gonna talk about nothing we did about today, or I can sue your ass. And that makes sense. That makes sense. I heard somebody said, use fear in the right way. Use fear in the right way. I guess I'll pivot and talk about that for a minute. Like, fear has always helped my Kundalini move. That's the thing the small part I liked about scary movies. It would really move my Kundalini. Like, it took a certain aspect to get my Kundalini moving. And I noticed that those kind of fearful things would always make it rise. So, as I tried to talk about the other day, you know, there was a part of Minneapolis where I just avoided because they was just always thick with cops. So I just always avoided them. And I finally was like, hey, I just got to go through this because this is the quicker way to where I'm going. But I had made a habit of just like, fuck them. I ain't even going that way. I'll go around. But it came from a little bit of fear, you know. They fucking with me right through there. That department fucked with me the most. Seemed like every time I went through there, I was getting stopped over some stupid shit. And now they can't really stop you over stupid shit, but that's what it seemed to be. Just stupid shit. And so, I guess the best way to say it is chances or opportunities. You know, don't let fear take away chances and opportunities. You know, because one counter of fear is also timing, because timing can beat fear. Because if you're fearful of an outcome, but you can time it right, you can beat fear. You can beat fear if you time it right. That makes any sense. Simple thing is, okay, I'm fearful that I'll be late. Well, you get there early. Right? Right? And I know that's pretty simplistic, but don't let fear stop your progress. Don't let fear stop you from asking questions, trying things. Because too often, that's what happens to us. We let fear stop us from doing these things. And people don't really know how to let fear motivate you. Like some people say, you know, they're successful because of the fear of failure. And I know, you know, I'm kind of talking about something else, but again, that is a way you could use fear. And definitely don't let it control you. And I know it's hard, you know, when people have anxiety attacks and stuff. I mean, you know, fear takes over. It'll take over your breathing and all that. Your heart rate, blood pressure, all that. Fear can take all that and start making you sick. So learn to use fear where you use it. You use it and not avoid it. I mean, if it's necessary to avoid things, yes. But I guess my point is don't let fear stop you from being practical. That's what I'm saying. Don't let it stop you from being practical. And when I say ask questions, don't let fear really stop you from asking questions. Or if I ask the question, I might lose my job. Or if I ask the question, they might think I'm incompetent. Right? So don't let fear stop you from your progress. Especially you in college or something, definitely ask. Ask if you don't know. Get help if you don't know, if you can't work it out. And I say this from, I'm pretty quiet. I'm a quiet person. Not really shy, but I'm quiet. I mean, I don't always need to talk shit. I get a little buzz and I talk more shit than other times, but for the most part, I'm a pretty quiet person. I keep doing that shit. So, and there's times that, there's women I let get away. I can't lie. Well, when I let them get away, I was living with another woman, so but it was like one that I wanted and I didn't go after her. Because there were times where my girlfriend would go home and, I was kind of free, but my fear, and all they could say is no. And I even knew that then. But I let, my imagination and everything get the best of me. And that's all I'm saying is don't let that get the best of you. Oh, there is something. There's a person that comes on the show and we want to show him a little love. Yeah. Let's find, well, y'all know who I'm talking about, but we want to send some love to someone. Where is he? And I'll show a picture of him. Okay. All right. I want to show this. This might be a short. Okay. I think it's. This is I'll show. I guess I can show this, and I'll start watching this to see. But start giving a little love to this guy. Y'all know who he is once I show him. Yeah, right now John Amos is struggling, and his daughter just set up a GoFundMe. And so I guess whoever his caregiver was took advantage of him. Now, this is his daughter right here. I'm friends with her on Facebook. And this is Jim Redwood's uncle. This is his cousin. And so, this is his family. And we just want to send love, love and healing to her and to him. We want to give them both love and healing. And we're sorry that they're going through this. And this is an old video, but I just recently, she put a GoFundMe in this that I guess he was taken advantage of financially, and he wasn't being watched properly in his rest area. He's in his mid 80s now. So, I'm not asking anybody to send bread or to GoFundMe, but just send them some love. If you can't afford to send something, send it to them. But just send them some love and some energy and some positive thoughts because they're going through it right now. And this man, he's gave us so much art that we all, we get old and we appreciate and we want the best outcome for them. So I wanted to say that we give love and energy to them and that family because positive thoughts and ideas do matter, Yeah, positive thoughts. What OT said, my aunt's friend used to get piped by Shaq back in the day. She said he was a shrimp. That's funny. That's really funny. That's funny. That's the word. And that's why they made that movie Bedazzled. You know, they made that movie Bedazzled. Oh man, I'm going to get me some Willie Dynamite tomorrow night. I hope. I don't know. It's still like I don't know. Time is gonna be. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go get that dynamite. But we'll see. Hopefully I can go get it tomorrow. And get my damn car worked on. Damn. Whoops. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow night, the next couple days, I'll have some Willie Dynamite for sure. Well, I think I'm gonna knock it off right now, y'all. I'm gonna be back tomorrow night. Wonder how long I've been going. Okay, 2 hours is cool. 2 hours is cool, and I can go to bed at a reasonable time. Get me a little rest. Maybe I can get up and play pickleball because that's the only time I'll be able to play if I get up early. Because I've got to go all the way down to the U.S. Bank for my nephew's graduation. Then we probably gonna go out to eat. And my brother-in-law's got the pool done. He wanted me to come over to the game tonight and swim. He's like, the pool's done. You want to come over? And it's like, nah, my girl's getting her hair done. His sister was getting her hair done. So we are going over. I'm going to have my daughter Friday. So we going over there and hang out at the pool and watch the game, probably grill. I don't know if he's got all the concrete poured yet, but it's going to be nice. Yeah, it's going to be real nice. Real nice. So this weekend, we're going to be up in the pool. And then when we go to the river, I'll have to post a video when we go to the Mississippi because we go up and down that motherfucker. You can zip down that motherfucker to the dam, and you can zip down. And I mean, you in the river. It's a little different than just being in a little lake. But we got like Lake Minnetonka is a big ass lake, so you can cruise quite a ways. Prior Lake, where my son lives and my daughter lives, Prior Lake is it's a lake where it's a long lake where you can go from one end to the other and just cruise. It's a nice little lake to cruise through. It's little parts that you can just cruise through. So it's a nice little lake that if you just like cruising, you can really cruise in that lake. Go down and then come back. It's a nice little, to spend the day on the water, So for those that like doing that. And this is, it's the time of the June boy. So I need to get me some of that Willie Dynamite because it's a June boy. This is the birthday month. I'm gonna be like the women. The women be like, my birthday. Women be in 2 weeks, like, well, my birthday's in 2 days. Well, my birthday weekend. See, this is the difference between men and women. Age is against women. Age is against women. What they say, Al Pacino just got a girl pregnant. That's why I couldn't mess around with a young woman because I could still get her pregnant. And I'm like a high volume, They be trying to keep my shit it so much. Like, hey, I got a little extra down here. You think we can, put this in the test tube and shit? My shit, if it hits them in the face, it's like you done threw some paint on their face, It's like you give them white face. But yeah, I'm going to call it. So thank you, everyone, again for coming. Send this citrine energy out to everybody, a citrine energy of abundance. I hope everybody can get abundance. Oh, I always forget to give you the shock, quasi-quotal energy, the wind rider energy. Forget to give that energy of the Mayan energy out. Give the transformation energy out of the were baby. Give the true energy out of the omen, the transformation. So give that out. And may you shine like a diamond, baby. May you shine like a diamond. May everything you do be amplified. And if you can get into the consciousness of the skulls, I send that energy out. You can't, just let it go by you. That's how it works, You just let it go by you. Till we meet again, say less.
you something? I said, can I ask you something? Ain't I'm clean?
It's going down like this, motherfucker. Hump, baby. Hump, baby. Hump, baby. Hump, baby.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
For what he has, he says that the only way that we can solve our problem is to unite together among ourselves, among our own kind, clean ourselves up, rid ourselves of the evils that we've become addicted to here in this society, and try and...
This ain't loud enough. This ain't loud enough. This ain't loud enough.
I just left a light in this bitch.
This ain't loud enough. This ain't loud enough. This ain't loud enough. This ain't loud enough.
I just left a light in this bitch.
Fuck up. Move the fuck back. 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 Fuck up. Move the fuck back.
Me and Bubba trying to rescue some kittens.
It's cool enough just being cool. It's cool enough just being cool. It's cool enough just being cool. It's cool enough just being cool.
Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man. Yes, he destroy black boys. If you destroy him as a boy, he'll never become a man.
I've seen a lot of black guys, Nipsey, but you're overdoing it. Group of you together, you never can tell who's who. Group of you together, you never can tell who's who.
My eye, plus I'm in love with a bitch I can't stand.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
You're a philosopher? Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deep.
I mean TikTok. I mean TikTok. I mean TikTok. I mean TikTok.
Flag cause he wiped up Future's motherfucking ex-hoe. Flag cause he wiped up Future's motherfucking ex-hoe. Flag cause he wiped up Future's motherfucking ex-hoe.
Dance with me. Dance with me.
What's all that noise? Oh, that's just Dad. What's all that noise? What's all that noise? What's all that noise? What's all that noise? What's all that noise?
Damn white boys out there. Most of them is psychopaths and all that. They'll kill your mama's mama and you.
You're a neighborhood superstar. You're a neighborhood superstar.
Be satisfied. Be satisfied.
What the hell you want here, hunky?
That's what me and this nigga do. We picked something and then we ran about it.
I think we OD'd.
Yo, baby, I got all the dope moves.
I think we OD'd.
What?
I think we OD'd.
It all breaks down to, what does this mean to me? What does this event mean to me? How does this event affect my thinking?
I think we OD'd.
Your lines are still open. Oh shit, you can get it, nigga. You wanna get it?
Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come. Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come. Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come. Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come. hit the loop juice and pulls up in the.
Do that dance, do that dance, do that dance, do that dance.
I just be shopping and shit, you know, drinking and shit, do a little smoking and shit. I'm legendary in this motherfucker. I'm legendary in this motherfucker. I just be shopping and shit.
And the fans, they're there for entertainment.
I stopped playing.